We're live.
Hello,
Took us,
hello.
we're just a minute late because I thought you wanted to hear Ursula, and somehow or another I'm getting feedback. So that's okay. It's not hideous. I just heard it for a second there.
Okay.
We got 6 people watching us.
Hello, everybody. I can see your table.
Yes, you can. You will be able to because I am. Let's see what we got in the comments. Okay. Welcome to everybody.
What a day. Boy, my goodness.
I know.
Nothing like a microphone drop. Oh.
I tell you, one thing or another. Um, and we have no comments. And I'm going to go check and see if anybody posted anything to the page, which I can't see when I'm here. And yes, and I've got, if nothing else happens, I'll do what I'm going to said I was going to do. Oh, Cartomancy Mesquite's here and Gail K. Hi.
Hello, people.
And Cartomancy came to our party that I had with Sheila.
Great.
BC
Great.
mom.
And we got this nice little family. The Nancy
Mm-hmm.
Jean Garden is growing and growing.
That's true. Okay, let's see. Go to the community page. Had 3 people comment. Somebody's still up in the air about moving, and people said, "Love it, love it, love it." That we're on.
Oh, that's
So
sweet. Well, thank you
I'll
for
look at
inviting.
yes. So what I was going to do was I have a little tale to tell you. So, for all of you who are so swept up in these political times and with what the Supreme Court's done to us, um, I don't know how many of you know the history of Prohibition, but it was a long time coming. And the person who made Prohibition happen, and there's someone back behind all this stuff that we're going through right now. But this guy's name was Wayne Wheeler, and he was born in 1869, and as a young man, he got involved with the Anti-Saloon League, and they were part of the temperance movement. And um, this is a tale of how if you get every politician focused on a single issue, irregardless of party or political bent. This guy was such a little political genius, and plus we didn't have the internet to see what people were really up to. Um, he was born in 1869. He died in 1927. The movement began right after the Civil War, and it was an outgrowth of the abolitionist movement. And the abolitionists didn't have anything to fight about anymore, so they kind of glommed over to temperance. And that's what happened. Um, it's a tale of using all of the levers of power that you can, and that's exactly what's happened with Roe v. Wade. The Republicans latched onto it after it was considered settled law, and they found out they could fundraise off it and could distinguish themselves. And so they got money from big business because they deliver what they wanted. So in um, in this guy Wayne Wheeler's time, he got big bucks guys like Andrew Carnegie and Henry Ford behind him. He also got Booker T. Washington behind him, saying that this is ruining your people too. And then he united every interest group you can imagine. I mean, he had the International Industrial Workers Union, which became the Communist Party in this country. He had the NAACP. He had the Klan, was a big part of his coalition when they finally pushed it through. He had progressives, he had populists, he had Republicans, he had Democrats. He had every major Protestant church in the US was behind it, except for the Episcopalians and the Lutherans. And the Lutherans, it's because so much of their lineage went back to Germany. And I don't know why the Episcopalians didn't come along, but that's what I am. But I know Episcopalians like to drink. Probably had something to do with it. We do. And then and when he was working on this, coming into the beginning of the 1900s, they realized that the demographics in the country were changing, much like they're changing now. They were going from agrarian to city, and they realized that by 1920, they would not be able to get a Congress to put together that they could get this through. So they totally aimed at getting it done by 1918. And then the thing that helped it then was the outbreak of World War I. So the biggest makers of alcohol in this country, other than hard liquor people, were the breweries that made beer, and most of them were German. And so they took the hate that was generated in World War I against Germans and created a backlash against the breweries. And I don't know if many of you people understand how vicious it was during World War I, but a man was hung by a lynch mob in Illinois because he talked German over a fence. I mean, it's awful times. And then, but the thing that most helped create the getting rid of liquor, prohibition, was before 1913, which is when income tax became a thing here in the U.S. Before 1913, almost all of the federal budget was gotten from alcohol tax.
That's incredible.
And you probably have forgotten about the crazy whiskey rebellion that happened during Washington's time, but that was an outgrowth of them wanting to them wanting to keep that as a part, and people saying, I'm going to grow my own whiskey, I'm going to brew my own whiskey, you're not going to tell me to pay tax on it. But that's why they wanted the taxes so badly. So a lot of the politicians realized, well, if I get this new thing, income tax, then we can go along with these abolitionists who are pouring money into our coffers and helping us maneuver around. Plus, the Anti-Saloon League had an incredible media machine. It had this printing press that turned out more paper sometimes than the New York Times and the New York papers did at the time. And if you can ever go look it up, their propaganda was extremely effective. It was always some poor child being shoved to the curb by the drunken thug of a parent. And then the other thing that happened was they used the print media, which was really important at that point in time. But also movies had just started. This is the early 1900s. And until I ran across this when I was looking this stuff up, I've seen this movie. It's a silent movie. It's called 10 Nights in a Bar Room. And it was an old one of those melodramas that they wheel into town and they play for people and get money. And it was actually written before the Civil War. And so they put it, and I actually saw clips of it, but I've that movie. It's not a long movie. None of the silent movies were long. But the little girl, the mother sends her to please go beg daddy to come home, and she gets injured and dies on her way to the saloon. I mean, it was like every nasty negative image you could ever have about drinking. And he used propaganda to really get this all up and going. So when Prohibition passed as a constitutional amendment, no one thought it would really go. But then everybody didn't realize how Wayne Wheeler had this whole country locked up and ready for it. And so they passed it in 1918. It went in effect in 1919. And then, but everybody thought, oh, it's anti-saloon, so it's just the beer and that stuff, but I'll be able to get packaged liquor at my home. No, the way they wrote the law, it shut everything down. So there was and the only alcohol you could get was if you were a pharmacist, you could get it to mix it to make medicines, which is an interesting story. There were two brothers who were pharmacists in Chicago, and their last name was Walgreen. And they had this tiny little drugstore. And this happened. And by the end of Prohibition, which was about 10 years later, they had 400 stores across the country. So, I mean, so much for being an entrepreneur at the right place at the right time. And they weren't making cough syrup, kids. And the other thing that they did is, of course, there were alcohol uses, industrial alcohol. And somewhere along the line, after Prohibition, to stop people from drinking that, they put poison in it. And that's when people finally started losing it, because in the last year of Prohibition, this is when these guys push things way too far. I mean, they already were off the reservation, but they're way, way too far. And the 50,000 people died from alcohol poisoning before they finally said, okay, enough of this. And they had the rise of organized crime, who filled the getting people the booze they wanted. And you can say you can't get it from state to state, but if you lived up north where I used to, you're just on the other side of the Canadian border, and that's where it came from. So the ultimate downfall was that they lied to everybody to get it. They told them, oh, it's not going to be that draconian, just the same sort of crap people are saying now about women's rights. But then they always push it way too far. And what we should have learned from this and gotten out of our government at that point, and this is my political lesson for all of you, it's Citizens United that allows businesses to pour any amount of money into politicians. So they buy them, and these politicians want to have those jobs. And that has not changed from the early 1900s to the early 2000s. And yes, there were. And what pisses me off is that this guy, the way he used the racism and the other factors, especially in the South. And between 1900 and 1920, there was an incredible rise of the Klan and the Jim Crow laws across the South. And that guy helped him do that, because as long as they vote against booze, he didn't care. He didn't care what other problems it caused. So,
Wow.
So that's my story on Wayne. And I just want to let everybody know that there's a way out of this, but we have to all participate, because it wasn't until all levels of society got upset and said, we're done with this. I mean, this guy, they have recorded him meeting with people in bars. Thank you, Sharon, for commenting to everybody. They had, he'd meet with people in bars.
It's just, you shared this incredible narrative, and it's like these patterns of human, I don't know who would talk about it in terms of the broader picture of, let's just say, the masculine wanting control, right?
Oh, yeah.
Usually money involved, and then groups and associations. So I don't know if you like watching Bill Maher, but he's always like telling Democrats, hey, you know what? Like, you guys don't even have a strategy, while the Republicans are just like completely knowing exactly what they want, and they're going to do everything they can. It's like a football team. They know the game plan. And then
No, they don't. They are so screwed up. And Bill Maher is a libertarian. And I will argue about that man all day long. If you listen to his arguments, he's a libertarian, and he's actually a male chauvinist pig. And he's not one of my favorites. I used to
let
think
me erase that then. Well, it's interesting because he actually talks about being awake and aware, but you're right, there's so many different narratives. So the good news is, what I hear you saying is, we have to work together. We have to just really, look at today. I'm just going to just lay this idea that this woman, it took a young female assistant who heard everything, right? And she wanted to do a really good job. But here comes the big microphone. A drop, because like a lawyer can't really say anything, right? He's held by confidentiality. Everyone else is like, all these men are like, okay, we're going to play Team Trump. But it's like, here comes this woman who, like, it took her a while to come out, sure, but her name is going to be either mud.
Everybody kept saying that it was going to be a woman that would bring Trump down, and all they've marched through before now were men. I think the things she talked about now give them a clear path of where to go, and they know the names of all those congressmen. And anyway, enough of the hearing for today. I've gotten one question on here, and I've highlighted it so I can find it. But what we're going to go is we're going to go to this. The table. And we're going to do a 12-month reading for the US, because I'm telling you, things happen in patterns. And we're going to, if you've never seen me do a 12-month reading, the first card I put down, so this would be July, August, September, October, November, December. I'm going to make sure I can get them all on here, because those are big cards. January, February, March, April, May, June. And I'm just going to push everybody up just a little bit and sort of squish us all together here. Okay. That is a card that's from Radley Valentine's Archangel Tarot deck. And that card, when I put it in the position of the month, that means it's where I think that's going to be the main energy of that month. But then I have these cute little, very fairy tale looking cards called Hanson Roberts Tarot. And I'm going to put a modifier on each one. And then I read the two of them together and we look for patterns. When a major arcana shows up, that's a month where something big's going on. And aces are, as always, new beginnings. So I'll show you how to do this, guy. So in case you want to know. Okay.
All right. This is exciting. The next 12 months.
August, September. Last time I did 6 months and it looked really good coming up to December. January, February, March, April, May, June. And right now I am offering 6-month readings if you don't want to like a normal 3-month reading. If you book a session with me. Okay. Oh, there's going to be a lot of disagreement. A lot of people are going to feel hurt. But this month, July, is a month to make the decision. Be clear about what you want and take actions. It's a need for detoxification. And it's because so many people are hurt and not knowing what to think. They're just not knowing how to get along.
Upside down. Yeah.
It's upside down. But the thing about the Seven of Raphael, what I like about this card, if you look in this, there's a well, but there's pots of paint coming up to the well. And when I get that for personal reading, I always say to the person, what color paint do you bring back to me? And they always inevitably bring back a chakra color. And that gives me a place to start with. Their unconscious is letting me know what they need to work on. So, okay. So August. Oh.
Good news.
Well, this is great. August is the Chariot.
Ooh.
And
Metatron.
Yep. Determination and self-control, career advancement, acknowledging the success of others. So I think in August, the country's going to start moving forward, and people are going to quit saying, what's Merrick Garland doing? I really think that's that one. September. Justice. Ace of Swords. And people beginning to feel like there is some justice coming to them. I'm sorry, guys. I'm just hideous.
There it is.
Okay. The Four of Wands. September is going to be a marvelous month for us. And then October, we're going to start seeing a lot of the goals that we want brought forward with us. And they're going to be meeting emotional needs for the whole country. The star is the dream has come true. Believe in yourself. It's the ends of difficult situations. So I think this thing's going to end more quickly than a lot of people think of. So then we get to November, which is election time. And of course it is the Five of Rods.
They be fighting.
But reason to celebrate, community and friends, happy announcements. And that's what I got before, was that November was going to be a great month. That a lot, and I think it is going to end up being a good month. So, and then what do we get for December? We get to be free. That's breaking out of our cage and moving on. And it says you can be free, make courageous choice to change your situations. But it's going to be so overwhelming, so much change. It's going to be hard to see things clearly. But what are we changing? We're throwing down our burden.
Oh, finally.
So let's see what 2023 looks like. January, 9 of Gabriel and Justice. 9 of Gabriel is the 9 of Wands. And it says, stay determined to move forward. Be prepared for any possibility, and a lot of environmental activism. Which means that the new Congress is going to come in and start cleaning house one way or another. February. And look at this women energy that's on here. How many queens are on here? And this Queen of Raphael, Queen of Cups, she's already shown up here. It says, follow your heart, love home and family, trustworthy psychic information. This is the emergence of all of our psychic energies. And it's going to be a tower time. I mean, it's going to hit us all suddenly. Working with it. So that's February is going to be a fun month. And then March. Oh, great. March is peace.
I'll take peace. That's great. Number 13.
That's the devil in the traditional deck. But what the way Radley has framed the devil is release the past. You have much more enriching things coming. Let go and let God.
Mm.
And there's a turning away from the dark priestess and going to the high priestess, using your energy wisely. We do that. April, another queen. Queen of Coins. In April, there's going to be so much release and relief in this country because
Tax
you get the 10 of Cups. Isn't that great?
Wow. The family. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And May is going to be a time when people are going to be getting a lot of messages back and forth. It says exciting new challenge. You may have to face the facts to succeed. Review contracts documents thoroughly. But this just means there's going to be, I think the business world is going to come back. I think we may be going into a bit of a recession. I don't think it's going to be as bad as they do, but I never think it's going to be as bad as those guys think. Anyway, and what we need to do at that point is what you reap, what you sow. So if you've been working with these good energies and trying to move forward, it's going to be a really good time. And then in June, a year from now, 10 of Coins.
Okay.
With emotional happiness.
Mm.
So it's gonna be such a contrast. I don't think I've ever done a personal reading that was this positive.
Well, the only one that's maybe concerning is the Tower card, right? But that could just mean suddenness.
Well, suddenness, and it's sitting on the Queen of Cups. It means a lot of emotions. I think a lot of people are going to face emotions they've been hiding from. If you think about what we've been through for the last couple years, we've been hiding a lot of emotions from ourselves. And no matter how good we try to say we're being about it, I don't think it's true. So let me see. I know I marked one question. Okay, Okay, somebody wants a message from her guides. And if you want me to see your questions, guys, you're going to have to print them in caps so that Ursula can help me watch for them.
Okay. Let's see how I access the comments.
Oh, can you see them?
Not from my little screen, but if there's some control button I push on my side, I'd be happy to.
Well, I don't know about that. I'm never on that end. And when I work with Scott, I can't see the comments either. He runs them all. Well, I'll just watch them and try to do the best.
But overall, it looks like a positive year.
It looks like, guys, this is such a great year from us. And once we get past the sort of being caught in this web we're in right now, I think it's going to be absolutely marvelous. So, and for those of you who want to know, that's how I do a month-over-month reading. It's not as detailed, but I used to always do it on New Year's when I read at New Year's parties, and people would take notes, and then they'd come back to me and tell me how it looked for them. And we'd look at it. And so we're going to look at Dana's thing.
No,
she was back here. Wait a minute, something happened. There she is. Show. Okay. What message do you have for Dana? What message do your guides have for you? I want you to know I had a wonderful time with Sheila when she was here last week. And we had a great meetup with about, she counted 24, I counted 26. But anyway, we had an open meeting for subscribers and just kind of met and sat and talked. And that was so much fun. It was really delightful. Sheila read a little bit of cards. I took some old decks that I used to sell my decks when I wore them out. I'd sell them at Dolly's. And I quit doing that because I don't go to Dolly's anymore. So I just took 4 of the decks that I had built up in the last couple of years and I gave them away to people who showed up. And we had a lovely time. And we originally were calling the Guides for Dana. That's not what we were calling the week. We were calling the week Stalking Beto. But since we never made it, we decided to rename it Sheila's Indian Sweat Lodge. That's what we do.
Okay, so Dana, here you go.
Here you go, Dana. Okay, what your spirit's telling me is that you were much closer to your spirit at one point, but something's happening around you that's making it harder for you to focus on them. And they're telling you to quit waiting for them to show up miraculously. Just do a little bit of meditation every day. To work on your heart. Your heart's what's being blocked because they're trying to get a message through to you. This Four of Cups over here, they're trying to get the message to you. You need to, and it's almost here, but you have to open up your heart. Let's see about your heart. Okay. You have a very strong heart. You know, a lot of strength in your heart, but something's making you afraid to make a move because I think maybe when you moved before spiritually, did you have to, you drew back because you got to a point and you went, no, that's kind of scary, and you pulled back. Don't do that. Go with the flow and see what happens. So anybody else have any questions? Because this could be the shortest. Did the planets alignment and create a big energy shift? Okay. I don't know if you saw that. My son in Austin has a telescope. He actually went out and took a picture of it for me because I'm not getting up before dawn, kids. I hate to. And for those of you who don't know Ursula, hello, Ascension Playground. She is learning galactic astrology, and she actually read my chart this week, and it's on her channel live. I mean, you can go see it, and it was really good. So
well, we had fun with Anne Marie and just learning to look up and see ourselves. So this is a great question about the heavens and how does it affect us on Earth.
Okay, did it? No, that shift had been building for a long time, and for those who were going to get the message, they already had it. And matter of fact, for some people, it kind of weakened them. It made them feel drained of power because I think a lot of what people are feeling now is the photonic shift, and you kind of have to work with that power almost every day to kind of really get into it, but it is helping the overall understanding of, because this is right side up to me, it is helping the overall understanding of what we need as far as the structure. So it's a signal to a change in structure, but it goes along with the shift in photonic energy and some of the other stuff that I'm be doing more on ley lines. I have a meeting with Johan, who's in South Africa, which means it's a Zoom meeting, guys, because I'm not going to South Africa.
So Nancy, it's so interesting, right? When you do start reading the stars and looking at the broader patterns. You know, we went through what Pluto-Uranus square, and then the United States, you know, if you listen to Pam Gregory, astrologer, everyone's talking now about the Pluto return for the United States. So our identity is, who are we? Are we United States of America? Doesn't feel united right now, but this identity pause, like you grow, and then it's like adolescence hits. Oh, someone wants a message from their guide.
Yes.
Rosa.
Rosa.
So it's fun to look at the patterns. You started with Mr. Wheeler, the Wheeler dealer. But sometimes those naughty people are.
Well, he died. He died really young. He was only 57.
50s, right? I know.
And by him dying, he kind of gutted the movement because he was very greedy. No one knew all of the connections he had. So when he died, that really helped the movement end. Not that I want anyone to die, but you know.
Right. Okay, Rosa B.
Okay, Rosa B. Which was? Oh, okay. It shows that you've been working on this for a while. You're still not making you don't feel like you're moving forward as fast as you should be, and because you're still kind of tied to someone that you feel that you feel you need their energy too, but I show you building yourself up to be much, much stronger. And let me see, I'm seeing with 6 weeks, 6 months. Yeah, 6 weeks to 6 months, you're going to hit the jackpot as far as listening to your guides. You have a male guide you don't listen to as much as you could. Because it's a guy voice, and she goes, I want a girl. I want someone who give it up, girl. I have a guy named Frank. He doesn't say much, but man, when he shows up, he shows up.
Wow, I love how you read cards, Nancy. Okay, well, if no one else wants to ask, oh, here comes Shockwave.
We've got a couple more. We're going into.
Here we go.
We had rain sweep across the center part of Texas yesterday, and Medium Kim is up on Mount Shasta with Dr. Gail, and she's flying back tomorrow. And I was talking to Dr. Gail this morning, and I said, I'm glad she didn't fly in last night because those storms were up all day. And they looked very nasty and purple and red and stuff. Okay, so Shockwave, message from your guides. You got him too. You've had some blockage too. It's the same sort of thing, but you've really calmed down a lot from where you used to be. You're really able to kind of listen and hear them. You were expecting some news from your guides this spring. You can't expect it from them. It just shows up. I don't know how to explain that, but it's the truth. And one of the problems you have is is it real or is it Memorex? Is this message real? But your messages are becoming through very loud and clear by the fall. And that was for you, Shockwave. Let's see. Next one is kind of a different one. Will the state of Missouri turn blue in the next 2 years?
Missouri.
Missouri.
Okay, let's see.
Missouri.
Uh-oh.
Not looking good there, the first two cards, but that just could be where it's been. And this is, it's yes and no. I think it's going to be, the direction is definitely, I think you're going to be closer to purple. And it's mostly because of cheating.
Whoa.
You have some young politicians coming up that are going to sort of shake things up and make it a little different. Okay, and let's see where. Okay. Sharon Fort.
Sharon
Fort.
Sharon. Message from your guides.
Okay.
Love that. Well, of course.
What I'm asking is, what I'm thinking in my mind is what's going around with you and your guides. So, and what we've gotten so far is you need to open up your own mind and you will find it. It's there. You just, and they may be telling you and just not paying attention. I do that too. Sun is always great. Oh yeah, you've got great cards. Part of what's blocked you from being able to hear your guides is because of hurt and pain. And if I were to sit in a private reading with you, I'd say, what kind of problems do you have with mom? Because that's here. But then you've got the sun, and the sun right side up or upside down is the best card in the deck. And so it shows that whatever this is, I think you've been working on it, and your guides are going to lead you past it to give you new thoughts so that you can create new relationships that are warm and cuddly. You're going to find your own family.
Oh, that's a great message.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and here's another message from my guides. You guys are
Cool Cat Susie.
Cool Cat Susie.
If time allows, I'd love to know about Beto. I'm getting to be a Beto buff here in California.
I know.
He is just, I mean, every time
He's
I hear him,
really nice. I ran a small office he had in Dallas. He had a bunch of satellite offices, and I ran. My knees were still crappy, and I wasn't doing much of anything else. So I organized this office, and tried to get people to go out and do things. Of course, they never open those offices up till the heat of summer. Who wants to go out and do that? Okay, cool cat Susie.
Here's your message.
Okay, your message from your guides is you have to let something go, something really big go, because you've gotten yourself tied up into thinking that you have to have these certain comfort objects in order to move forward. And I think you're a bit of a control freak. And so when they try to tell you something you don't want to do, you rationalize your way out of it. But you've got the wherewithal to do it. You have the ability to build up the defenses and the support you need for yourself. So I know this looks like a whole bunch of no cards, but that's a great card. If you want to have a card upside down on your reading, that's the one to have. Because if it's right side up, all those little knives are sticking in you. Wow. And whoever he was, or whoever has been hanging out in the back of your brain, you need to let him go. Oh, okay, wait a minute.
Cleaning out the closet. Mm-hmm. Gail K. Did you miss me?
I thought I read you.
Oh.
Did I not? We'll try again.
Okay. Well.
Okay.
Good that you asked again. That's good. Okay. I just love watching you read. I love the pictures and then how you put it together really as an art form, Nancy. I mean, you're so fast. It takes me a while thinking,
Well, I'm doing them fast now. If I'm doing like a personal reading, we spend more time on this stuff. You're another person that needs to. This card reverse means that you're ready to start and go, but you've got to break up some relationships. You got the same card too of the Nine of Wands. You have the ability to make the relationships. You don't acknowledge your own strength. You have to understand you're strong enough to do with whatever you hear them tell you. And we go, okay, show.
Do it.
Yay, we love Beto. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you so much, Rosa. And Beto has, oh no, that's not the one I meant to see. Okay, this one. Yay. Thank you, Carol Lamb, for bringing this up. For those of you and how you would ever get my channel and not have seen this, I can't even imagine.
The Garden Club.
The Garden Club.
Nancy Jean's Garden Club. I love it. Bring your pruning shears. Oh, yeah. Look at that. Yeah. The Oracle Garden.
Mm-hmm. And for those of you who don't know what it is, I'll answer the next question if I get one on the garden. Or you wanted to ask me something, so I'll do yours on the garden.
Oh.
Yeah, I'm talking to you.
Oh, okay. Well, first I was going to ask if Beto is going to be victorious. Is that
okay?
Is that
let's see what the universe sees around Beto.
There's just such an energy about him. It's like I don't want to call him a hero, but we need thoughtful, sensitive leaders who are listening to people.
One of my friends has a kind of incredible pedigree in his family, and he had dinner at he had lunch at the White House with the Kennedy kids. He's just a little younger than me. And he's met the Kennedys, and he met Bobby, and he met Jack, and Jacqueline, as he calls her, Jacqueline too. But he said that when we went to see Beto 2 years ago, he said that's the closest thing he'd seen to that family's energy in anyone.
Wow.
So, okay. So we're gonna roll the garden for Beto. Okay. Well, he's got his. Okay, for those of you who know what this is a body, this is a mind, this is a spirit, this is your values, and this is clarity. And I put all those 5 stones together when I do a reading. And so we'll start with his body. I don't know how he does it. That man never goes home. I mean,
he was sweating, going door to door. I'm like, oh my God.
And yet that was when it was 103 here too, let me tell you. So when you have a stone that falls in three spaces, you have to read the meaning for that. So that's the body is in the path forward, it's in false, and it's in earth. And earth, this is earth, water, fire, air. And earth is in shamanic, and I use the shamanic definitions for these center points. And in the shaman's world, things emerge from the earth. So the body says physical changes are coming for him, and it says that he needs to listen more to his body right now. So we may be seeing that thing, but it's his path forward, and he's got the strength to do it. So he's moving to the next step. His mind is in fire, and fire is the south. It's the past, and it says. It warns him to not become too tied to the energy of the past, because it's really easy when you've campaigned to get into too much of a pattern and to not be spontaneous, and people will sense that. So then the next part is spirit, and spirit's in restate. You're going in the right direction, but you need to look for clarification. Since clarification's up here and it's a great place, that means things are going to go well. And he's also, because part of what he's doing right now is he's dealing with thoughts of the past and how things have happened in the past. And he needs to kind of get out of that. But he also needs to evaluate kind of where he is. But then way out here for his grounding is in the sacral chakra. And it's and that's a piece of pyrite. That's what I use for my grounding stuff. And in the sacral chakra, that means that a lot of the things he's manifested that he's been thinking about, they're supercharged at this time. So they're really pouring forward. And his clarity is between the crown chakra and the tree of life. And when the stone falls on the crown, it means everything's really, 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 really becoming clear to him. And the out is the best part of it. His clarity here said that his visions are blessed with wisdom. So what I'd say is he's doing fine.
Good. Him personally, except he has to watch out for his body. He was drenched in sweat going door to door, but his face looked like he was fine, but you could see the signs of someone who'd been probably out in the sun too long.
Well, no, I can tell you, you take 3 steps outdoors when it's 103 and you're going to be covered with sweat too.
Wow. That's too long for me, 3 minutes. Well, as a side note, Nancy, I was just up in San Francisco at the DeYoung Museum, and it is hosting the Obama portraits, like
cool.
Mrs. Obama and Barack. And I got to tell you, the room was full. Like we were just watching 2 portraits, like the Mona Lisa and the Barack Obama portrait, and what was written and the video that came with the show. It just reminded me of the past during the Obama presidency. And he just seemed to speak for all humanity. So when in your Beto reading, it's like, oh, the past. I'm thinking, yeah, this time of speaking as a civil servant, helping support anyone. Oh, only daughter looks like she's got a.
Well, I have a reconciliation with my son. We can roll the stones on this. Let's see.
Yeah. Wow.
Oh, yeah, you got it
right in the middle.
Yeah. And it's the teeniest stone. It hit all 4 of those. So there's a whole lot of grounding and learning that's going on in this process of what's happening between you and your son. But what it means when I'm going to start with that stone because it is so uniquely there. Be sure your thoughts about what you need to do are clear, because the ideas you carry from the past are moving you towards solutions. You may have many chances to reconcile with him, but and that's emerging for you because that's your body. It'll appear, and the water, what the water says is it's moving away. It says you really have most of the clarity that you need. You need to pick the path carefully and move forward. And your body is in earth, which is physical changes are coming. So, and fire. And whatever you've done in the past, you're learning from it and you're trying to make the changes so that you and your son can reconcile, because you wouldn't have all these out in the chakras. Your mind is in your root chakra, which is really interesting. When your mind's in the root chakra, it says creativity in this situation will create security. Your spirit is in sacral chakra, and spirit inspires you creatively, and you guys are dealing with some really heavy duty past stuff, not just past in this life, but past life. And your clarity falls between the heart chakra and the solar plexus. And when clarity's in the heart chakra, it says wisdom comes from being clear about your own emotions before you speak. And the heart says wisdom comes with the clarity of your emotions. So those two go together. And there's more than one way. When you have solar plexus with spirit, there's more than one way to read your emotions. So I think it's clearing up a lot for yourself, what happened to you in the past, and you're getting clear about it. And I think it's going to be a good reconciliation. I'm going to put out the little cards, read the little ones. That's a lovely reading. I can't tell you how rare it is to have that many stones fall in the outer edge. Let's see.
And the bullseye in the middle.
The bullseye, and that's the grounding, and that's what she's been doing. You've been both learning a lot about what you really needed to know before you can move forward. That's building something wonderful. It's going to happen very suddenly, and there's love.
Oh.
So yeah, this is good. What I'm seeing here is all good. I think it's really made you have to grow as a person in dealing with him. And I know what those grown kids are like. I mean, I wish I could stick them, make them back be toddlers. I'd even change the diapers, man. Anyway, anybody, do you have a question, my dear, for you?
For me, sure. Spontaneously, why don't we go back to what did my guides have to say for me? Because
Okay.
typically I think about other people like, oh, my husband's health or this or that, but I'm thinking, nah, today would be a good day.
We're going to ask your guides, what does she need to focus on? The very elements of life.
Well, that's going to be an easy reading.
Hide. Okay.
That's so
this is Ursula's reading, and your mind is letting go of limitations right now, big time. Because when the mind shows up in water, that means that the limitations are floating away. Yep, you're letting go of limitations. Your your grounded is showing up in air, but that means in thoughts. And it says mental actions are your path to the best abundance. And then this is what's emerging for you: your spirit, your body, and your clarity. And your spirit says that your spirit's transforming right now, but it's not yet finished. Your body is in the middle of making some physical changes that you're getting much more comfortable with. And your clarity says you have many paths ahead of you connect to in the future, and you're growing to meet them. So that's what your guides are telling you, kid. And for those of you who don't know much about the garden, and I still haven't answered Carol Lamb's question. Carol, what I'm going to do is this week I'm mapping out my month. I'm going to put me in the middle. Okay. I'm going to be mapping out my month and getting things sort of arranged. One of the things that's happening is if you follow the daily duos that I do with Jeffrey, right, caller? We are going to go to the duo weeklies because we wanted to have a chance to really go in depth. Ursula may be disappearing because I think she's frozen. She just texted me she just had a power outage. So for those of you who want to know about the garden, if you go, you can join, and I think it's like $4.99 a month or something. And yeah, there she goes. She had a power outage in California. we're going to have garden parties 3 times a month, and they'll be interactive. They'll be live. There'll be a Zoom type thing where we can all meet and talk with each other and correspond with each other. And I'm going to teach people how to read the garden. I had, like I said, we're moving away from the daily duos, and people could get to see me read the garden every day. And as you can see, it's a very spiritually oriented divination tool. I'm going to be doing the, you can join, if you join my channel, which I didn't really want to do that, guys, but quite honestly, the amount of time I want to spend really developing the classes for the garden, I really want to be able to do that with a clear heart, which means making enough money to live. So I really want to thank everyone that supported me up until now, and I'm going to continue to come on and do these kind of wacky lives. I'm probably going to do one next Thursday, and there'll be and I'll post it so you can put your own personal questions. If you ask me a question there, I'll do one question for each person that writes it in there. But if you want to learn about the garden, it means, for one, you got to buy one, which you can go to my website, www.crystaldirections.com, and you can find out about the garden, and they're on sale. They're 10% off from now until the end of July. And yes, Celtic Seer, it's via YouTube. You can go to my channel and you'll see where it says the membership thing. I gotta tell Ursula, I'll call her back because I'm still on, girl. Don't you understand? Anyway, and it's if you join and you decide it's not your cup of tea, then don't stick with it. But I actually had 4 different people write me in 1 week and say, I want to learn more about the garden. I'm learning a lot by watching your dailies, but I need more instruction. Libra Lady, I work in the afternoons. What if the classes are not during my work hours? What I try to do is accommodate people so that I can catch the most of them. If we have to do it at night because it's easier for people at night, that's fine. I will tell you when they won't be. I'm not a morning person. And if you want to have a grumpy garden lesson, we could do it in the mornings, but otherwise, no. And okay, starting Celtic Seer, that's what I'm doing. This week, I'm actually sitting down with my calendar and writing out, like, I'm going to do this kind of show this time. I have a bunch of stuff I need to do. I have another reader that I really like who does not know numerology, so she's asked me to teach her my quick course in numerology. And Dr. Gale's in the house. Thank you. Yes, no grump. Carol Lamb does not want a grumpy person teaching her. But my goal is to get people, because I tell you what, every time I work with someone with the garden, and I was doing training a year ago, but I'd have like 2 people in a class, or I'd have like 12 people show up. And then there's just, I wasn't, this came from my guides and I channeled it in. So I'm learning just like you are. So I kind of need that space to get that figured out. But anyway, I'm glad y'all showed up today. I think today was a very interesting day. And, that was really true. I had just put up my, we're going to go at 1:00. And then I opened up my news feed and saw that they were going to have a 1/6. And it was really, I don't know if you saw it today. And if you're working, you probably haven't seen it yet, but it's very interesting. And it's like I said, I think the U.S. is headed in the right trajectory. Yes, what I'll do is, Libra Lady, I'll create a library of all of the classes. And if you're a member, you can go get those. So those will be there. Okay, J6 was great. And I want to thank Ursula for coming and helping me. And I want to thank everybody who's shown up. I'm not big on shouting out to people. I shout out to Sharon Sipe because she's the best dragon slayer I know. And Ascension Great Playground's on now, and she thinks she did that on her phone. I want to thank her for having come and helped me today. And I look forward to having a show up on Thursday. And I mean, last week was really, it really was Sheila and Nancy do a sweat lodge because my car's air conditioner broke right before Sheila came. And when I was young and stupid, I could drive around in an air conditioned car in the middle of the afternoon. I am neither of those two things anymore, so it was tough. And please go look at Ascension Playground, see about the galactic astrology that she's learning, that Ursula's learning. And, you know, it rang true as a bell to me, and it rang true as a bell with other people I've had work past life stuff with me. And that's all I can tell you, because I have enough trouble with regular astrology. So with that, I'm going to end this broadcast, and I want to thank everyone who showed up, and I want to thank Rosa B for her kind contribution to the effort. That's $10 towards my air conditioner. And I will talk to all of you later, and I'll see you on Thursday at 1 o'clock. I anticipate it, unless I find some other person to dredge up and throw in front of the committee, in which case we'll play it by ear. You have a good day. Bye.